Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Bad Dot Studios. Today, we are doing a reaction video to a movie which I was coerced to watching by Abigail. She reached out and told me to watch it, but thank you so much for doing it. Today, we are talking and reviewing the movie Coco. I know, guys, I am late to it. 2017 is when this movie came out. I do watch Pixar and Disney movies, of course, but it takes a while for me to watch them just because I usually watch them with my niece and nephew. They are a little older now to where they don't watch movies that often, but that used to be my excuse to watch a movie like this. And unfortunately, I haven't watched this. So I watched it. I want to give you guys my reaction to it, and who better to join me than the crew from OG 55? What's going on, fellas? How you guys doing?
Good to be on, Tones. Always a good time talking shop with you on Bad Thought Studio. Love it.
Of course.
I'm here.
How's it going, George?
It's going. Yeah, I've mentioned this many times on Orange Grove 55, but Coco is my all-time favorite Pixar film thus far. I feel like that this is the last crown jewel, I feel, of like the originality that Pixar gives out. So I'm always down to talk Coco, and glad that you finally got to watch it for yourself. And I'm very curious to hear your thoughts on it for sure.
Yeah, for sure. We'll get into it just a moment, but guys, make sure you guys are hitting the like button if you guys are going to continue to watch the video. Also, make sure you guys subscribe with notifications on so you guys are notified once a video is uploaded. I do want to introduce you guys and make sure they go and follow you. So I'll start with you, OG. If you could kind of tell the people who don't know you what you guys do on your channel and where they can find you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having us on again, Tones. Always a good time. Yeah, you can find us on YouTube, Orange Grove 55. We talk a lot about theme parks, mostly Disney, but we also dip into Universal quite a bit. But we even do other stuff. We talk a lot about movies, streaming shows. We just did a music video reaction show with Tones, which was a really good time reacting to J. Cole and Friday. Really fun video, but that wasn't the only one. We've done like K-pop, we've done all kinds of stuff. So really just entertainment in general with a focus mostly on theme parks. So that's Orange Grove 55 on YouTube. You can follow me on X, Orange Grove 55, and you can also find me on Blue Sky now. I'm on Blue Sky as of a couple days ago at Orange Grove 55.
Beautiful, beautiful. And of course, George the Italiano, you could tell the people where they can find you.
Absolutely. For the people who don't know me or don't know where to follow me, more so you're probably male because usually all the females do know where to find me. But you can find me you can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You could also find me on Instagram, Threads, and also on Blue Sky under the Disney Italiano. And of course, you can find me on my home base at Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info.
Beautiful, guys. Make sure you guys go follow them. I will leave everything in the description below. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. Coco, guys. To me, this movie, and I'll kind of just go over just a little bit. This movie was, I use the word necessary. It was something that you don't see in, especially within a Pixar movie or just an animated movie in general. You don't see a concept like this. Day of the Dead is very important to the Mexican culture and just the Latin culture in general. But you saw a different kind of way they were going. Death is a very hard topic to talk about, especially when it comes to a animated film that a lot of kids will see. It's a very hard topic because it's one thing. I guess it's taboo to talk about in a way because you don't want to manifest something like death, and that's why people to me don't like to talk about it. And I don't mind talking about it. It happens. We're human. We're not immortals. Stuff like this happens, but to put it into an animated movie it was just amazing to watch the way they went about talking about it to where it wasn't something that was negative. It was something positive that you'll remember the people who've passed. You will remember the people who made an impact in your life, and you will celebrate them on this day. And I loved it. I thought it was great. And Miguel's character was something that was very fun to watch. The only thing I will say that I'll start with this. The thing that I didn't like in the movie, when he picked up the guitar, I thought he was going to do the talent show and blow everyone's mind. like just be like, wow, this is like a new up and coming like child, like he was gonna do, and then all of a sudden he ended up being I guess a ghost, or like I guess he went to the other side or something like that. I don't know exactly the exact term, but I thought for sure he was going to just shred and everyone was going to love it. But unfortunately, we didn't get to see that until he went to the other side and talked to the dead and all that stuff. But all in all, I thought the movie was great. Like,
Yeah.
well, go ahead, OG.
Well, no, I was just saying it's a fantastic movie, and I'm glad you brought up that it's important, because you're right. It's for a long, long time, American animation has dealt in a lot of like European sort of themes, right? I thought it was really beautiful to introduce, like what you were saying with the Day of the Dead, Mexican culture to really a global audience, but just educating people on it. I thought that was really beautiful. And the cool thing too with Pixar is a lot of times what they do is they take, like you were saying with like death, like topics like death, they take a topic that's pretty like taboo or hard to kind of swallow for maybe even like a child, right? And they turn it into something digestible, but yet meaningful, right? They even did this recently. I just watched Inside Out 2. They dealt with a lot of kind of adult themes in that movie, with like anxiety and fitting in and being yourself. Now, I know the main character, Riley, was a young girl, but like anyone, like we're grown ass men, we can relate to that. You know what I'm saying? And Pixar has a knack for sort of packaging these films in a way with these really kind of like deep concepts and making them digestible for the whole family, right? And Coco's no different. Like death, you're right, Tones. It's a scary thing for everybody, especially children who don't really understand it. And the way they handled it in this movie was beautiful. And then the way it was also teaching kids of the Mexican culture, I just thought it was honestly damn near flawless.
Yep.
Yeah,
I totally agree.
I think with a movie like this, it has many different key factors in it of what you fellas were talking about, as far as like with the Day of the Dead, the Mexican culture. But then it's like, okay, you're taking that aspect and it's like, well, how can we wrap a great story around it where we could, inform people of what, this celebration is and what have you. So you're taking this young boy who has a passion and a dream for playing music, not knowing why, because his family is all about against music, and him not understanding why is that, why am I so different, why am I feeling this. And then he comes across that Ernesto de la Cruz, which he believes is his great
grandfather.
yeah. So then he's feeling like, okay, this is where I belong. I have the gene pool from him. So that's where he can kind of get that connection. But the connection necessarily wasn't the fact it was Ernesto de la Cruz. It was Hector. I tried saying that as prolifically as I possibly could without saying it the white way. Hector.
Hector.
That was his connection, because that's where in his gene pool with his family of how he is connected, which I feel like that's what pushed him into the other side, because his great grandma Coco, that as she was starting to get older, possibly losing her memory, that in the film, once a loved one, because she was the only tie connected to Hector, because that was her father. But being that her memories were becoming very vague because of her getting older, that if no one alive knows about that person, they just, poof off into existence. So it's like you take that common core of storyline and you just kind of mash it all in together, and it's a beautiful story. It has beautiful music that ties into the rich ethnic background of the Mexican holiday, and the colors are so vibrant, and the way that they symbolize the afterlife, so to speak, because anytime a person can talk about it, but it's like you can never really visualize what that can be. So basically it's a blank canvas, for animators. It's like, okay, if we were to create something, how would the Mexican culture see the afterlife? And that's how it came about, like with the crossing over of the bridge with the leaves, and it's just a very beautiful movie. And as I said, it's by far my favorite Pixar film to date.
And I feel like Latin culture in general really lends itself well to animation, because like you said, like it's very the colors, the beautiful music. Even Walt Disney kind of dabbled in it. Not even dabbled. I mean, he kind of went in with it, right? He did the Three Caballeros. What was the other one? Saludos Amigos.
Saludos Amigos.
And those are what, in the 40s?
The 40s, because he actually made a trip down to South America.
And he fell in love with it. I mean, I remember him coming back saying he absolutely loved it. The culture.
There was a documentary that actually recorded his travels. Walt and what is it called? El
Grupo, I think.
Yeah,
El Grupo.
That's it. Yes.
Yep.
Wow,
yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I mean, it was wild. But have you ever seen Three Caballeros, Tones?
I have not. No. At least I don't remember it, to be honest with you.
It's a great movie, man. It's a really, really good movie. You got Donald chasing.
It's not like your typical Disney animated film, because it also has a lot of live action sequences,
right,
as far as like the culture and the people, but it involves around Donald Duck's birthday, and Panchito and Jose Carioca kind of like show him the way of the different Mexican cultures and everything.
Oh, okay.
It's great. There's some humor in there. You got Donald chasing around the Latin ladies and stuff like that, but it's funny, but it's also very educational too. So it's a great movie.
As the famous OG says, I'll put it on my list.
Exactly. Put it on your list. I couldn't believe we did a Story Geeks with Jay last night, right? And I actually watched a movie, dude. I watched Inside Out too. Couldn't believe it.
Hey, let's go. I want to watch it. It just popped up on my Disney, because I just got done watching the Planet of the Apes movie. I forgot what it's like a paragraph long of the title of the name. I forgot what it's called though, but the new one that came out.
Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, there you go. It's one of those.
How was that? Was it pretty decent, or?
It was okay. I enjoyed the first three, or the I guess the one that came out in like 2000. The one with Caesar was born, and then you see his progression, and then how he
with James Franco.
Yeah, exactly. I loved those. This one was just kind of I don't know. I guess the storyline was just missing something, in my opinion. And I don't know what it was.
Honestly, after like a trilogy of something, and you can end it perfectly, just end it. Mm-hmm. Like, don't just keep dwelling it out. It's like Toy Story 4. It's like, I'm sorry, that movie should have been what got thrown into the furnace.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. 100%.
So let's start with Miguel. Miguel is in a family where they don't allow music, and for a specific reason that he kind of knew, but he didn't know the reason behind of why his abuelita didn't want him to play music. And he had to make his own guitar, sneak up into I guess like a top of the house or something like that, or like the roof, the attic or something like that. Mm-hmm. And he has, what's his name? Ernesto de la Cruz. He has all his videos and his pictures everywhere, and it's someone he looks up to. So he starts playing the guitar, and you see him he closes his eyes, which I thought was a beautiful little like caveat to what, like, he's feeling the music. And when I listen to music, and when I'm singing a song to myself, or whatever the case may be, I close my eyes and listen to the music. And I thought that little thing was beautiful, because he closed his eyes, he played fucking beautifully, and it was fun to watch him play to someone he looked up to. And I thought that was pretty cool. And then you see his he gets talked into doing the talent show, and unfortunately his grandma finds him and breaks his guitar because he doesn't. Now what do you think about, I'll start with you, George. What do you think about something like that happening, as far as something that happened in your family's past that affects you so much that it won't allow you to play music? Do you think that was a good part of this movie, kind of telling you what they thought about the past and what happened, to, or I guess, Ernesto de la Cruz?
Absolutely, because it allows conflict to show through of who Miguel was as a character, his character arc, moving through the story of like how is he going to get through these obstacles, so to speak, because he is a genuine young man. He loves his family. He doesn't want to disrespect them or go against them, but at the same time, something is tugging on him to pursue his passion, his dream of music, and not knowing the secrets of his family's past. And it also intrigues the audience to say, I want to know more. So that makes them say, okay, I want to continue watching this movie, because Coco, the movie Coco, is one of those films where it's not predictable, where you could watch a movie and say, okay, I could kind of see where this is going. But the way that they wrap the story around that concept of how you start to learn these characters as they move along, but you still don't know fully why until it progresses through, I think is a very, it's a very strong kind of story arc. But yeah, I feel like as far as Miguel himself, if I was in his position, that's very, it's a very difficult, decision to make. But at the end of the day, you are your own individual. You, as much as you want to, you know, please your family and not go against them in a harsh manner, but again, you have to do what is best for you and what makes you happy.
Exactly. And that was my exact thought as well. Go ahead, OG.
Yeah, it's tough, man, because you have this kid, right, Miguel, who's got a lot of passion for music. He loves it, and he can't pursue it because his family, they're holding him back. I mean, just picture yourself in a situation like that. Like, we all love doing this, right? We all love doing podcasting and talking and making videos and everything. Imagine if our families were like, no, Tones, you can't do that. You can't record. We don't believe in this. Da 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 da. How hard would that be?
Well,
That's
it was
a lot
easy
of pressure
for me. That's why I got a divorce.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there you go. Right. Exactly. So it's really tough, man. And you don't want to not listen to your elders, you know what I'm saying? And there's a respect thing there, and I get it. And it's really hard. So I don't envy the position he was in at all when it comes to that,
Yeah. 100%. And I, for those who don't know, I am Mexican. I am half Mexican. I'm a terrible Mexican because I don't speak Spanish, but I blame my parents or my dad for that and my grandma. But so kind of a little backstory, just to my dad grew up in Oakland, California, or near Oakland, and during a rough time. And my grandma didn't want my dad to have an accent when it came to having being Mexican and having a Spanish accent. So I kind of got passed down that, I guess, that mindset to where they didn't want me to speak Spanish. But at the same time, my mom's Italian, so there wasn't much Spanish going to be spoken anyway. But my dad pretty much he had to almost forget the language. Like, he knows most of, he knows a lot of Spanish, but there's a lot of words that he doesn't know. So having that culture, it does suck not knowing Spanish, but I still, with my grandma and just the family we grew up in, it was a family oriented culture. And being Mexican and being Italian, a lot of things were similar when it came to both of my grandmas. Like, they both treated me and respected me and taught me a lot of things that were similar. And in the Mexican culture, you get elders is very important to learning respect. I learned how to respect people because I had elders, because I had people older than me teaching me how to act when it came to certain people. So with my grandma, it was something that came naturally when it came to respect. And unfortunately for Miguel's case, he felt like he was respecting them enough, but he also wanted to pursue something different. And he did look up to Ernesto. That's why he became a musician. That's why he became why he wanted to play the guitar. But unfortunately, he couldn't express that because he didn't want to disrespect his elders, his grandma, his parents. And it sucks because it happens a lot, even outside of this movie. It happens a lot to where you can't pursue something because you don't want to put someone down, or if one family went to the military and the son wanted to go, but something, God forbid something happened, they wouldn't want them to go, but that's something they really enjoyed. So it sucks that you see that a lot, but they put this movie in a in a great they laid out this movie great to where you could still respect your elders but still pursue your dreams and show them that you care about this. And that's what that's what Miguel did, in my opinion. And that's what I loved mostly about this this movie.
Absolutely.
Sorry, excuse me. I do want to go to no, not Ernesto, Hector. Hector's character was it was fun to watch. It was very fun to watch. You've seen him kind of take the back burner when it came to Hector, or when it came to Ernesto, and he didn't really care. He just wanted to see his family that we eventually saw at the end, but he didn't care about being the main guy. And he sang his songs, he wrote his songs, but it was cool to see him and Miguel connect right away. And when they had that performance on stage, when Miguel finally got to show people what he was about, the whole crowd loved him. And then Hector was there doing his own thing with them, and they just connected right away. But tell me, I'll start with you, OG. Tell me what you guys thought about that specific part, because that was a great bonding experience, and they didn't know what they were bonding about, and I thought that was beautiful.
No, that was beautiful too. I thought it was a beautiful bonding moment. I thought Hector's character in general was so. I thought his character from a movie. I'm going to kind of go a little Jay Shear right now. From a storytelling perspective, so to speak, I thought Hector's character was really needed in this story, mainly because you're dealing with, like you were saying, Tones, earlier on in the show, you're dealing with a very, very kind of heavy subject matter here. You're dealing with death and loved ones dying and things like that. And I thought Hector brought a lot of like that kind of fun lightheartedness to it, and it kind of offset the darkness, so to speak, right? So 100%. When he came in, he sort of like, I think that made it a little easier for maybe like little kids maybe watching this. Like on stage, I love the bonding between him and Miguel. I thought it was beautiful. The relationship there, you could feel it. You could tell and see, this is the thing I love about Pixar over and over and over again. They are masters at being able to convey that emotion, to be able to, you don't even know, like you were saying, like you don't even know what it is, but there's subtleties in there that make it work. And you're like, wow, that hit me. You know what I'm saying? Yep. And like I said, I just saw Inside Out too. And with that movie, there were things in there too that you're like, wow, I don't know why this scene's hitting me like it is, but it is. And it's like the way they are able to kind of frame things is absolutely genius. But yeah, that scene was great. I love that bonding experience between the two. And it was a pivotal moment in the movie.
Oh, 100%.
And it's when you first see Hector, it's him trying to cross over, to be able to see his family, but they don't disclose who his family is. Mm-hmm. It's just this character. He's trying so hard to cross that bridge. And that alone is such an intriguing part, because you just see him as an individual that's just, okay, he must have family, but for some reason he can't get over why. And then you kind of forget about it once he connects with Miguel, and it's like, okay, he's kind of showing him, where he needs to go to Ernesto de la Cruz in exchange to say, hey, if you can get me over, over on the other side, let's make a deal, or so, and you just think, okay, it's a bonding moment just as a friendship. Little do you know that you find out later on that they're actually family, and they have a much deeper connection than what they originally thought of each other.
Yep. And I loved it. I loved the way they led on to where we thought Ernesto was his great grandfather, and then we come to find out that it's almost like that jaw-dropping moment, like, wow, that was a great way of telling us that. But the one thing that I will say, and this is another taboo part that was in this movie that I was extremely shocked they put in here, was that Ernesto killed Hector.
Yes.
I was not expecting that, dude. Not expecting that. And when
he did it was so like so just cold, wasn't it?
dude, I poison? Like that's crazy. And and I'll start with you, George. What did you think about when so not like poison aside or killing aside, like this is happening in a Pixar movie of someone killing someone and they're talking about, I mean, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I've never seen that in a Pixar or Disney movie of them actually killing somebody or like a human killing another human. Usually they'll kill someone off like in a different kind of cartoon, but it was a human killing another human. But what did you think about that scene?
Before I get to that, there was one other Disney movie that I can remember that does, and it's the scene in Mulan where Shan Yu passes the message to send to the emperor, but there was two soldiers, and he says, "How many soldiers does it take to deliver a message?" And then the one of the Huns pulls an arrow and goes one, and then it cuts. So automatically you don't see it, but you know that they
Damn,
killed.
dude.
Yeah.
I didn't remember that.
Yeah, so that was that. But to your question, I as far as for Pixar goes, I believe that is, and what makes it even more in depth is how real it is because
Mhm.
when you're utilizing characters that are human, not as fish, not as toys, not as monsters, but as humans, that you see the realism in that where it could actually happen in real life.
Yep.
And it puts an even deeper tone into the characters because then when you see that moment, you're like, oh my gosh, Ernesto de la Cruz, he's supposed to be everyone's hero, but he's a murderer, he's a thief, and it's like then you see his character in a whole different light. And then when you see Hector, where his character goes from a kind of like a silly, funny, kind of mysterious kind of being to almost where it's like you feel bad for him to the fact of what he
Yep.
went through, of how he lost his life, lost his career, basically lost his family, that Ernesto de la Cruz was responsible for everything that Miguel was going through in the present. So it definitely stretches the character arc. It definitely puts more depth into the story. But yeah, the realism of that scene. It really just showcases that when Pixar does do something, and I'll even say even when Disney does good with that,
Right.
it
Yep.
it works, but it has to be done in an artistic way where it doesn't become morbid.
Well, and that's the thing. That's what I was saying. Like the subtleties with Pixar, right? When he's poisoning him, and Ernesto is like waiting for it. He's like, that's the thing. It's so conniving and so evil. The way he like waits for it, and he's like looking at him, like as he drinks it. Like it's so messed up. You know what I'm saying? And it's that Pixar ability to like sort of convey that through these little subtleties like that, where it just knocks you down. It just hits you right in the chest, man. It's crazy, you know.
Which I do have to say, despite of how evil Ernesto de la Cruz is, he was played brilliantly by actor Benjamin Bratt. For all
Benjamin
of you
Bratt.
who don't know who that is, if you've seen the movie Miss Congeniality with Sandra Bullock, he is Special Agent Eric Matthews.
Yep. I love that guy. He's a great actor. But yeah, when I first saw that scene, man, I was like, wow, this actually is happening. I was I honestly didn't expect something like that. And like I said, we were anticipating, with knowing Day of the Dead, we were anticipating, the death being talked about. But as far as us seeing a murder, like it was actually really insane to me. But it was a great way of seeing how Ernesto is this bad person, and you see Hector, the not only was he the person who wrote the songs that got him famous, the person who pretty much made Ernesto famous. You see it all come out at the end that he is now on top. It may not be in the human life, but in the afterlife, you see that Hector is actually being praised because of his music, and Ernesto's no longer the people look up to him no more, and people look up to Hector. I believe that it was Hector who at the end they were like they put his picture up. Am I wrong for that? You guys remember
Correct.
that?
Yeah.
It
They
was
did.
Hector.
Yeah. Yes, because that's how he was able to fully cross over. And then essentially, when the truth came out and the word spread, um, in the real life, you know, Hector became kind of famous, and then
Yep.
Ernesto de la Cruz was frowned upon, and no one had anything to put up for him. You know, they tore down the you know the statue and what have you. So essentially, in time, Ernesto de la Cruz, even though he had a freaking bell dropped on him, technically you can't die twice.
Twice.
But essentially, when no one remembers you, then you just go from you just disintegrate into dust. So eventually, they don't show that, but that's basically the interpretation of what eventually happens to him. But when Miguel does find out like who Hector is, what Ernesto de la Cruz has done, and what have you, and then they play kind of like a little bit of a montage, but of like from a past scene
Yeah,
of Hector interacting with his daughter, who is Coco, as a young girl, and he's playing that song "Remember Me."
dude.
You start to I tell you what, like
Cry, yes.
yes,
Yeah.
there's not too many movies that do that, but honestly, Coco did for me. And then, as I said, watching them interact with one another, like as father and daughter, but then going to the end where it's like a full circle where again Coco, she's much older, she's starting to lose her memory, and that even hit home for me because my grandpap had dementia, which turned into full-blown Alzheimer's. So to see a person who you admire and that you love and they just start to deteriorate, and then to kind of bring them back to life, so to speak, by singing a song that her father sang to her as a young child. And it's like, and then you see Miguel and Coco have that moment.
Yep.
And it's like, I mean, how could you not get choked up with that?
Yeah, it's one of those moments where it's like it's up there with all the great Disney moments, like all the great emotional Disney moments, right? Like, you know, the Bambi mother thing, Mufasa and Scar thing, right? It's that scene with Miguel and Mama Coco is up there with all those classic emotional scenes.
And I'll even top that. It was such a great scene because I mean obviously you guys know who I am, but for those who don't know, like music is very important to my life and I implement it into my everyday thing is to listen to music. But having a musical connection with it could be family member, a lot like your significant other, whatever it is, it's different. It's different when you guys are singing together and you know connecting on that kind of I guess wavelength where Miguel and Mama Coco did. Like they were singing together, and that it made it even more emotional for me. Because like my grandma, I have a song with her. Not like we didn't create a song, but we listened to a song called "Love and Tenderness" by Otis Redding. And when I was younger, she used to watch me, and I would always tell her to play that song over, like over and over and over. So it became our song. So seeing that part happen and, you know, having that connection I did with my grandma when it came to music, and it was just, oh my God, I was tearing up. It was such a beautiful, beautiful scene in my opinion. Probably one of my favorites in animation, to be honest with you.
Wow. Yeah, it's a powerful movie. It really is. You know, I mean, George, it's your all-time favorite Pixar movie.
It's
You
my
know,
all-time favorite. Nothing as of yet can top Coco. Which
I,
is
I
very
might be right
surprising
there with
because
you, George.
what's that? I'm sorry.
I might be right there with you, bro.
we might have to do another top Pixar show on this
Yes,
Might have
channel.
to.
for sure.
Yeah.
The game has changed. You know,
Oh,
the list
oh,
has
yeah.
changed.
I do need to watch Inside Out too. So let me watch that first, and then wait, is that Pixar or is that
That's Pixar. Yeah.
it is Pixar? Okay,
And
yeah,
it's
let
a
me watch
great
that first.
movie. Yeah, it's a great movie. It really dives into a lot of themes that as an adult that you can relate to. It fit, like I said, like fitting in, you know, anxiety, like who doesn't have anxiety, you know? So it's a good movie, really good movie.
I hope that if they come out with an Inside Out 3, which I'm for sure that they will.
Oh, they have to now.
Yeah, 1.6
they're pretty
billion.
much, they're pretty much at like the point of no return. I hope they create an emotion, and I know that they can't in a way because obviously it's Disney and Pixar, so they have to kind of. But I mean, like if they had no holds bar, I wish they would create one that would be more like me because I have this emotion, and they would name it "I don't give a shit."
Yeah, that'll go over well.
Yeah,
That'll go over very well. Now, to my knowledge, there's no Coco 2, right?
No.
Nothing, no Coco 2. Now, let's do this to end this episode. What direction do you think if they were to go for a Coco 2, what kind of direction do you think they either should go, or do you think they, knowing Pixar the way they would go, if you guys had to think about it?
It would be kind of interesting if you fast forward, right? And Miguel has kids and they don't like music.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that's an interesting kind of switch up, right? You know, something
Yeah.
like that, you know, and then that whole, I think that can create a lot of conflict and interesting sort of like, it's almost like a reverse kind of like the original
Mhm.
film. Like he loved music. His family didn't want him to do it. This one, he loves music, but he doesn't, and he wants his kids to play and be into it, but they don't want to, you know,
Ooh,
that could be
that'd
interesting.
cool.
Yeah.
What about you, George?
Okay.
I know this is kind of on the spot, but
Yeah.
you're usually good at that, so we're good.
Yeah. So for me, I agree with OG. I would have Miguel grown up, have kids, but what I would do is have Miguel even older so that his kids are adult and one of his kids gets linked and connected to a possible relative of Ernesto de la Cruz. So you kind of have where maybe they kind of like kind a relationship, but you would have that love hate because it was like you're taking, and I get it because you would think, okay, well, if Ernesto de la Cruz has a relative, how could he be gone forever? But maybe this relative didn't know that they were related to Ernesto de la Cruz, but they
But
end
do
up
we know for sure that he's gone for like
no,
he's gone for-
they never officially said it. So that kind
Oh,
of
okay.
leaves a door open for that.
Yeah.
Because then if the two of them have a connective bond, then it's like, okay, but then they find out the truth of what happened, in the past that, my relative killed your relative, and and that creates tension. So that's what I would do. But I mean, if I really had to choose, Coco is a movie that I feel like it is a standalone film. It doesn't need a sequel. It doesn't need the continuation. I feel like it ended on a perfect note, no pun intended. That it's one of those things where I just feel it'll stand the test of time it'll become a classic just as the originality that it is.
I would agree with you. I think that it's a one-time movie, but what I would like Pixar to do is dive into Latin culture again, though. Like maybe not within this Coco universe, but something else, and kind of dive into this world and culture in a new way with new characters. I think that'd be kind of fun, But I can see what you're saying, George. Like this seems like maybe the story was told and that's enough, I feel you.
No, I agree. I'm usually, if something as great as the storyline, I would love a part 2, but you are correct. There are certain movies and things where you would rather have it being a standalone, because you don't really see a wonderful story past what we just saw, like something that will just be amazing to continue, because you kind of see where it led up to. They know who their family is, they know who isn't their family now, they know who is truly the singer of the family and all that stuff. So I agree with that. One thing I do want to say that I should have mentioned in the beginning, because it's in the beginning of the movie. I don't know if you guys noticed this, because I noticed it without having to look it up. But do you guys remember in the very beginning when he's looking out the window and you see a car drive by? Did you guys see what car that was, or remember what car it was?
I don't, but was
It
it
wasn't
what?
the Pizza Planet truck, was it?
It was.
I was
Yeah.
just gonna say that because they Pixar loves their cameos. You know
Oh
what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Oh yeah. I was not expecting the Pizza Planet car, dude, at all. It
Yeah, it's
was
actually it's wild tones. Like a lot of their movies do that. Like in Monsters Inc., they actually have in Boo's room. I forgot what scene exactly, but in Boo's room, she has a little Nemo, a little Finding Nemo toy
oh yeah. I
in
remember
her
that.
room.
Which is funny is because Finding Nemo wasn't even out yet.
Yeah,
So it was showcased that, you know, she had a squeaky Nemo toy, but a lot of people think, okay, she has a squeaky fish, but it's like,
yeah,
but they didn't really know. But when it comes to the Pizza Planet truck, it is in every Pixar movie. They purposely
Really?
put a Pizza Planet truck in every single Pixar film.
I never knew that.
It may not be like the actual like truck, but it'll be a representation of whatever movie you're like. It may be like designed kind of like a vendor cart or like
Gotcha.
in Luca or something. Like they'll put it in there somehow, some
It'll
way.
say Pizza Planet on there.
Yeah.
That's
that's
awesome.
crazy.
We need to do a video of either Pixar or Disney in general of a connection of movies of what we of I guess the conspiracy theories of the connections of like Titanic and or not Titanic, Jesus. Tarzan and
Frozen.
Frozen. Like something like that. I think we should do like a video on that to see how many we can find and if do you think they'll hold up or something like that.
Yeah, that'd be
and
fun.
that would be fun because I also have one that ties Wish to Snow White. And
Wow, I didn't know that. I never heard that
and
one.
Snow White Entangled.
See, we can go on all day. Apparently,
Let's do it. I'm down.
let's do it. So we'll kind of wrap it up here. All in all, guys, I enjoyed this movie, and I think I'm with George. This might be my favorite Pixar movie of all time. You know, like I said, being Mexican and you know having you know a culture like this is very important to me because of that. You know, growing up, I had, like I said, my grandma, she was very, we did everything when it came to the Mexican culture, and I enjoyed it. It was something that I really enjoyed. And, you know, this movie was very necessary, in my opinion. There's not enough Mexican culture movies or TV shows that are out right now. And, you know, not saying that they need to be, but I'm just saying there's not a lot that you can come back to quite like this, and it kind of tells you the history behind Day of the Dead and days like this. So I really enjoyed it. So OG, kind of just wrap it up. Thought about the movie, 10 out of 10. What'd you think?
Oh yeah, no, it's a beautiful movie. It's one of my favorite Pixar movies. Absolutely, I'd give it like a 9.5 because technically nothing's perfect. So I'd give it a 9.5. But I mean, gorgeous, beautiful storytelling, beautiful. I mean, visuals were flawless. The music was amazing. It hits all like right, George. It hits all the right notes. You know what I'm saying? 100%. An absolute classic. So yeah, Coco is a beautiful, beautiful movie. It should be
Yeah.
on everyone's like top like 5 for like Pixar. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
At
I
least.
agree. What about you, George?
For me, this actually, in once in a blue moon, because I do find things that are like top notch for me, this is a 10 out of 10 for me. And
Mm.
which I don't really say very often because I usually am like OG. I usually am like a 9.5 kind of rating guy because nothing really is perfect. But for me, this movie was flawless. I didn't really see anything that that hindered my feelings towards the storyline, the music, the characters, the colors. Everything for me was perfect. And to your point, Tones, of that you were mentioning, you know, I wish that they would do more. Like there should be more with the Mexican culture, the Latin culture. You had mentioned it too, OG.
Yeah.
That what worked well with this film was it wasn't forced. It was something that was done naturally, organically. It's like, how can we tell a story about the Day of the Dead that a lot of people hear about it, but they
Right.
don't really fully know about it. And it's like, how can we tell a compelling story? And it's like they did their research, you know, they got people um on the project, you know, that have Mexican heritage backgrounds and what have you. Bobby and Kristen Anderson Lopez, I believe, or Lopez Anderson. I gotta remember. They did the music for this movie, which they won an Oscar for Remember Me, which they also won the Oscar for Let It Go for Frozen. So, they also are, of the Mexican culture. So to have someone working on the music and the songs, it can tie into that. So it's very authentic and a very original. So I say if they were to do more movies with the Latin culture and South America and Mexican and what have you, let it be authentic. Don't just make something just to say, okay, let's just do it because we have to add it to this roster. Let it be genuine.
Yeah, and make sure you check out Three Caballeros on Disney Plus. You'll like that movie.
I'm gonna watch it, and to like George, what you were saying, it's almost like a quota you feel like some of these movies have to make when it comes to putting in certain culture movies out. So I get exactly what you're saying, and make it authentic, make it something that a lot of these people can relate to, and enjoy watching someone else's culture or the culture, and whatever the case may be. So 100% I agree with you guys, gentlemen. I do appreciate it. Any last thoughts before we get out of here?
Just thank you for having us on. I miss coming on the Bad Thought Studio. It's always a good time. Whenever you have an idea for a show, just holler and I'll be there, and George will too.
Yeah. Gotcha. Beautiful. Thank you, gentlemen. Guys, make sure you guys are liking the video. We are on the road to I want to try to hit 1K within a year. I think I could do it. I've been kind of slacking lately just because I have so much shit going on, but I promise we're going to be putting out more videos, guys. We're gonna try to get to 1K within a year. We're going to be putting out a lot of more videos, and let us know in the comments if there's another video or movie you guys want us to watch, react to, do a breakdown to. Love to hear from you guys. But gentlemen, I appreciate you guys as always. If you could remind the people, OG, where they can find you on social media.
Yes, sir. You can find us at on YouTube, Orange Grove 55. You can find us on Twitter, Orange Grove 55, and now Blue Sky at Orange Grove 55.
What is Blue Sky?
Blue Sky is like alternate Twitter. It's like if you go to the Apple Store, you can type in Blue Sky. It'll come up. It's like Blue Sky Social, I think it's called, or something like that. And a lot of people are on. I was surprised by how active it is, because usually these new social media platforms are kind of like, okay, it's an alternative to Twitter, but you get on there and there's nobody's posting. You know what I'm saying? This has I already have like over 70 followers. I just opened my account yesterday.
Wow.
Oh shit. There's people on there. I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. It's a little something different, so yeah, check it out.
I'll have to check it out. I've never even heard of it. That's crazy. George, always a pleasure talking to you, brother. If you guys haven't watched any of our videos with OG and George, please go do so. We have just the best fucking times, and I love it. And especially the Bad Thoughts podcast. If you guys are not following that, make sure you guys go do so. I'll leave that in the description. You guys will hear a lot of George's stories that I'm telling you, you guys need to hear. They are the most hilarious fucking stories. So make sure you guys go check it out. But yeah, George, if you can remind the people where they can find you on social media.
Absolutely. And again, Tones, thanks for having us on. It's always a good time, and always look forward to it. Anytime that you have an idea or you just want to invite us on just to bullshit, it's like, hey, I'm down for it, But,
hell yeah.
But yeah, if anyone would like to find me on social media, you could do so on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You can also find me on, I do apologize, there's the hype train. You could also find me on Instagram, Threads, and now Blue Sky under the Disney Italiano. And of course, you can find me on my home base at Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner, with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info.
Guys, go give them a follow. I will leave everything in the description below. If you guys want to find me on social media, Tones_TV on all platforms. Go ahead and follow the podcast like I was mentioning earlier. We're going to be revamping that here in the next couple weeks. We got some good stuff coming, so make sure you guys go check it out, all right? But as always, I love y'all. We'll catch y'all on the next one.